for the Debevc, I'm Gracia Espinosa, and welcome to a new episode of the Red Couch podcast. Today, we have two guests. One of them is Adam Debevc, the program coordinator of Remotely Pilot Aerial Systems, RPAS, Commercial Operations. I hope I pronounced correctly the name and the name of the program, Adam.
So it's Adam Debevc. RPAS is the acronym. It's a bit of a mouthful, but you're correct. Remotely Piloted Aerial Systems dash Commercial Operations.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
For sure, our second guest is Paul Wang, one of the current students of the RPAS program. Welcome.
That's right. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
So obviously, we have to talk about this RPA's Commercial Operations program. So Adam, an overview of this recent, we can say it's a recent program at Fansha. So let me know.
Sure. So yeah, if we give you a high level overview of it, really RPAS, that acronym speaks to drones. So that's the term that most of us would understand these pieces of hardware to be. So we are teaching a relatively comprehensive course that speaks to how to build these things, how to maintain them, how to fly them, the Transport Canada regulations surrounding the commercial operation of these machines. On the backside, it's how do you use them to collect data? How do you work with that data, so process it, and then how do you turn it into a format that can be shared and analyzed and really turned into a valuable product across multiple industries?
Adam, what is the difference with other programs that you can find at the university or other colleges?
So a lot of times what we find is there'd be elements of what we teach embedded within certain programs. So I'll give you an example. So perhaps you've got a survey program, and within that there might be one course that gives you an overview of, say, drone use and survey. But in 3 hours a week, you're really only scratching the surface of something complex. This is robotics. It involves hardware, software, flight, and just a number of different approaches. And so it's more complex than what you can get to in a 3-hour class each week.
And that's the reason that you chose that program, Paul, because I don't know if you were involved with drones before this program, you were interested, or...
What Adam said, the reason I chose this program is like I did like literally the whole research in the Canadian wide, and I only find like Fansha providing the RPAS, the drone technology program that is also combining the commercial application, because drone technology is very cross programming, cross courses. It involves like a lot also telemetry and also aerodynamics and a lot of those. So you're really hard to learn just one thing all the way through. It's the best to combine everything and put it in the use. Yeah.
Paul, I would like to know if before this program, did you use a drone? I don't know if, for taking pictures or only for as an entertainment. I don't know, Paul, because for example, in my case, I have never used a drone, so I would like to know about
for me, I'm not a professional like drone user. I have my own drone, but only flew like a few times before. But I know a lot about drone industry knowledge. Like it's really popular. This industry is back in China, in Asia. It's really great industry now. It's emerging. Yeah.
We talk about this. Do you remember, Adam, when I said, is it important that before the program you have to be like a professional with drones or not?
No, definitely not. That's a great question. So we have various students that join us, right? It is a grad certificate, so this is an 8-month, 2-semester course. And typically we're having students come, a lot of them happen to be engineers, have like a bachelor's or a master's of engineering. You don't need that, and you don't need any prior experience with drones. We're gonna teach to all levels of understanding of how this stuff works. So we start at the basics and we bring everybody through the entire process.
I have just mentioned to Paul that if he used the drone to take pictures.
Mm.
But something that I would like to highlight during this interview is there are a lot of different purposes and different functions for the drones. So I would like that you mention,
Sure.
because I discovered all the new things that drones can do in this moment. And you are going to learn it. I mean, students like Paul are learning.
Absolutely, yeah. So I would say what most people initially think of when they think of drones. I think a lot of people think of them as in two ways. So one is like, oh, these are toys, and okay, that's fine. Another is these are useful in the context of taking photos and video. And so I would argue that they can be toys, but what we're teaching is how to use these as a tool. And in order to do that, you've got to have obviously the fundamental understanding of how these things work, but then how we can actually use these in specific industries. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So let's think about public safety. This is a tool that could be used, say, after a building collapse. You could put perhaps a thermal sensor, so a sensor that looks for body heat, and fly over this structure and potentially be able to pick up the body heat of anybody who's trapped inside, which would give you efficiencies on trying to find people in those situations. Another example could be you want to do some exploratory mining type scenarios. So you're looking for new minerals under the ground. Well, you could use these aircraft to carry tools like ground penetrating radar, and magnetometers is another example. And you can see beneath the surface of the earth, and using that data, you can start to infer like, oh, is there a potential for commercial mine in this particular location? Another use case could be in construction. As we prepare a job site before like a new housing development starts, we want to be able to scrape the earth, something you're doing cut and fill to level out the ground and get it prepared to put the foundations in. Well, we want to survey that area prior to bringing in heavy equipment. A drone can carry a camera, can do something called photogrammetry, and use those thousands of photos that are stitched together to produce a highly accurate, measurable map that can be used by a construction team, management team to make decisions.
Paul, for you, what industries or drone applications interest you the most? Alan has just mentioned a lot, but I don't know if one of them is the most interesting for you, or you would like to mention another industry or function that you consider that you would like to work.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because after taking this program, we have one of our course. It's application on how to use the drones, and we have actually one assignment to let us to do some research about how drone can actually apply on different industries. So we pick one and do our assignment. And during that, I find something really interesting me is that to use the drone to do the wildfire control, because people know that. Especially during recent years, there are heavy fire going through in North America or all over the world. And drone can actually use LiDAR, use thermal cameras to find the hot spot or the smoke spot. And you can actually determine where the fire starts and to eliminate very fast to actually save people's money and lives. That's really fascinating.
Wow.
That's a great point and a great purpose, if I can elaborate on that as well. So Paul's explaining it from the perspective of gathering data, say, on a working fire or pre-fire, to help make organizational decisions on maybe where to put people on the ground, to be able to head off the fire. The other thing to think about as well is there's opportunity here for drones to actually step into a suppression role, so actively engaging and putting out the fires. And in particular, the use case that I see there is really at night when not a lot of water bombers are flying. It's very dangerous to do it then. And I'd always thought, like, why don't the robots take the night shift and work that suppression task then?
Paul, during the program, I would like to know what was the most challenging part of learning to operate drones, and how are you overcoming?
Oh yeah. There are a few challenges for me, but I kind of overcome. One of them is about how you actually operate drones, because nowadays drones are very smart and automatically. But when you actually want to be a drone pilot, you need to not relying on those automatic functions all the time. So this course actually teach you how to operate the drone, fly the drone by yourself, but without some of the functions sometimes. And that's very tricky, and that's depends on people's talent, but I did the hard work and I think I overcome that, and it's really interesting. Yeah,
And it's very interesting that there are flying drones, and we can say air drones, or how we can distinguish that kind of drones.
Okay. So, sure. So, yeah, I guess there's lots of things now that can be classified as a drone. So, in air, on land, on water, underwater. In Canada, the way we classify airborne drones is with that acronym RPAS. So RPAS, remotely piloted aircraft system or aerial system. That's how we define that. One thing I wanted to add to what Paul was saying about a lot of what we do is automated, and there's a lot of pre-planning, pre-mission type of work that goes into configuring both the drone, the software, and various other pieces of adjacent hardware to prepare for a semi-autonomous mission. Paul's mentioning that you can't always rely on that system to be 100% accurate or 100%. It's not going to work 100% of the time. You better know how to get it back on the ground safely if systems start to fail. So it's not good enough just to say, well, I can program it, throw it up in the air, and it does its thing. Sure, there's a component of that. But at the root level in aviation, you need to get the thing back on the ground safely. And in some cases, that means certain systems aren't working. You're on your own flying it. So we teach that as well. It's important.
Interesting. Something about the Transport Canada certification, because I understood that FANSHE prepare students to get that certificate. What does that process involve, and how important is for carrying drone operations?
Sure. So basically, there's categories that Transport Canada has broken these operations into, and there's a couple different types of licensing. So I'll just stick to the most basic, which is called a basic license. If you're operating an aircraft, a drone that weighs 250 grams to 25 kilograms, and you want to fly commercially in and use these things in that context, there's a set of regulations that regulate this. This is aviation, right? So there's a test that you write through Transport Canada. And we certainly prepare the students to be able to pass their basic, which is an online written challenge test, their next step of license, which would be their advanced test, and then they would do something called a flight review after that with a Transport Canada licensed flight reviewer. So that's at arm's length from the school. So the school doesn't administer those tests. We prepare them so that they understand what to expect, and they have a very high chance of success on those. But yeah, that's something that's administered by Transport.
Paul, any tip for students who who are studying and trying to get this Transport Canada certification? What do you think?
Yeah, because I'm currently a second semester student, and I have one good news haven't told Professor Debevc, is that I just got my advanced license examination passed
Hey,
Like 2 days before.
congratulations. Oh,
Yeah, 2 days
wow.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if you ask me, did I look for any other information online? A little bit, but not much. All most of the things I learned is from the what you call the project ground school. So they teach all the theory stuff, or aerodynamics, all the telemetry stuff, and I have enough knowledge to pass the exam for now. Yeah.
Important, that
And I haven't finished the semester yet. Yeah.
important because sometimes there are people who come here to Canada, and when they finish the program, I mean, I'm talking about other educational institutions, they don't feel like I didn't learn, So I'm happy to hear that no, this program is really useful, and with the knowledge that I got, I could do my projects, I could do everything by myself. So
I think it's also it's a function of like the effort that the student wants to put into it. But I believe it's fundamentally with the realization that this is robotics. Robotics is not going away. We're starting to scale these industries, and this truly is an opportunity of today. So we're not looking 3 to 5 years down the road. There's careers in this right now, and they're good careers. So I think the students recognize that, and that motivates them to want to learn it. So they put in the effort, and they're able to achieve things like getting their license early. That's obviously just one component of this program, but it's certainly part of it. Yeah.
So, well, I wanted to know about the career paths for recent graduates, but you talk about all the industries and everything. So I hope, Paul, when you finish, you get a job immediately. But I don't know if you are interested in a industry or in a specific job. I don't know if you want to be a drone pilot, you say, or you would like to be in other kind of job position related to the same field, but I don't know.
Yeah. Because it's halfway past through the second semester, and I'm already looking for jobs online, and I've been reading through things for the past few months, and I noticed that the knowledge and the ability I acquired from this program, not just letting me to be the drone pilot, but actually there are some drone pilot. There are a lot of drone pilot jobs like needing in the market, in the society, but there are still some more jobs requiring more advanced technical, and this program has the potential to make me to acquire those jobs, like researchers, like using drones to do data analysis, to do artificial intelligence. So there's a lot potential for that. Yeah.
That's really cool. So my last question, it will be, if someone is considering joining the RPAS program, what advice would you give them?
The first would be reach out to me and talk to me and ask any questions directly from me that you would have. I can also connect interested individuals with current students and graduates. I think that reaching out to people that are in this program, that have graduated and have successful jobs in this industry, they're the best people to get the answers from. And sure, you can do all the reading online that you want, and there's lots of information you can find there, but ultimately I think it's speaking with students, grads, and professors in the program just to get it directly from us what this is all about, and kind of get an understanding of who we are and the passion we have for this, and then how we're going to pass that on and build out this industry by graduating leaders.
I don't know if you would like to add an advice or a tip.
For getting jobs and for taking this program, I think the great thing of this program, it's a postgraduate degree, and which means that people who applying this program, they already have some background in their industry or in their studies, or even you don't have any, you love math, you love how physics works, then you have one industry to go through with drone. Drone is only the tool for them to use, but it's going to be what application interests you, and you will have passion to go through and work on that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paul, and thank you so much, Adam. For sure. What? Oh, wait, we have something that we would like to show, because, I mean, before the wrap up, I think you should show one of the drones that Adam brought.
Sure.
This is the flying drone specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this happens to be made by a U.S. company called Skydio. It's a really fascinating drone. It has pretty extreme capabilities. I don't know how well you can see it. Paul, I'll get you to hold that while I point it out here. So there's a 360 camera here, here, and here. And on the bottom, there's a 360 camera here, here, and here.
3 cameras.
6.
I thought
There's 6.
Oh.
So there's 6 that provide us a particular function. So these use the vision system to avoid obstacles. So it essentially creates a sphere around itself where it's able to understand, it sees how close it is to obstacles and it avoids them. What's interesting about that is this is really useful in a GPS denied environment. So if you can fly this underground in a mine where you're not going to have GPS, and this is still able to collect data in that type of environment. Or if you're flying, say, under structural members of a bridge, the GPS signal is not going to be strong or reliable in that particular instance. So this would be the type of tool you would select in that type of scenario. And this camera that we see on the front here, that is articulated and can move, this is what's collecting the photos in say, a photogrammetry type mission. These other cameras are being used to keep this thing away from objects. So as it moves around, it has an understanding of its surroundings, which really enables this to be an effective tool.
It's heavy or it's
yeah,
light?
pick it up there.
I know it's really light.
I mean, a big consideration in aviation is mass, right? So you're always balancing against that particular constraint. If you can reduce the mass of the object you're trying to put in the air, you're typically going to be able to fly longer or be able to have bigger instruments on board, some other trade-off that you're making. So yeah, you want to try to make it light.
All the drones and other resources are providing for function, right? I mean, the students don't have to buy something.
No, absolutely. So yeah, we have a number of different drones. This is a relatively small one. So we have drones that are closer to the 25 kind of kilogram limit. And those are capable of carrying significant payloads. So the students get to train and get hands-on experience flying, collecting data with a variety of different drones. And that's really important because when you get to industry, this is it's a tool, and there's not a one-size-fits-all kind of this drone will do everything. You're working backwards from your objective. And then figuring out what drone do I need to use and what payload does it need to carry to be able to successfully execute that mission. So there's lots of different opportunities.
I don't know if we could fly it closing this program.
So I would say that would look amazing. I would be hesitant to do that in this close proximity without safety glasses on.
Perfect. So we are going to finish.
Sure.
So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Red Couch podcast. You know that you can catch up with every episode on our website or wherever to get your podcast. We have Spotify, Google Podcasts. Watch full episode on YouTube channel, and you can see a real drone if you decide to see on YouTube. So important. And subscribe to our newsletter to keep up with Function. For the Interrobank, I'm Gracia Espinosa.